Previously in Brothers in Arms.
Before he died, my dad told me every soldier has two families. Those you raise, and those you raise hell with. I never asked to be squad leader.
Baker! Stand in the door!
But I had no choice. I can't remember the last time my dreams weren't about everything that happened in Normandy. When it was good.
So you're saying I couldn't hawk this in England?
Alan, it says to Matthew on the side.
So? There's probably loads of Matthews in England. Matthews who want a gaudy silver pistol.
Let me see it. Holy hell, this gun weighs a ton. You could put a hole in Superman with this.
Nothing could put a hole in Superman.
That thing could.
Dreams I can't forget.
Baker!
I'm so sorry.
Leggett, what happened? The truth tore him apart.
Want me?
But he kept it to the end of the mission.
Take
To the
me!
end of his life. There were heroes born.
We wait for the smoke to build. If it screams, shoot it. If it screams in German, shoot it again.
There were things that happened after our victory in Normandy. There were things that happened way before.
Mom said I can't keep this. Sorry, Dad.
So much had happened.
Keep up the fire, and we don't die here.
So much had happened.
You think you'll get all the credit again?
Definitely. Anybody get hit on the line?
What do you know about Leggett?
Yes.
No. No one got hit. Damn miracle.
So much had happened, and we were just getting started.
Hello, welcome everyone. This is Cavalier Astoria, and today we are continuing on with Brothers in Arms, Hell's Highway. So, yeah, this is the third installment of this game. And yeah. So we're currently in Eindhoven, which is a city in the Netherlands, famed for Operation Market Garden. Someone's just been murdered. God, I do like how you can tell exactly what era of gaming this is from.
Where is he? Has anyone seen him?
I can't see a damn thing in the smoke. My eyes are burning.
Keep looking.
Sorry, Sarge.
Don't be sorry. You did good.
Did she get out okay?
Yeah. Yeah, she's fine.
Liar.
And yes, this is the intro of the game. I'm not actually the biggest fan of this intro. As a whole, I don't think I'm the biggest fan of Media's Red
Matt, he's gone.
openings.
We have to go.
Like, in my
Look at
opinion, I just don't like it whenever they start a story in the middle of it.
Let's move, Matt. Follow me.
But yeah. So, this game is, of course, the third in the series. I do think it's actually
Just
the
go under.
weakest
We gotta move.
in the series, and I'll kind of point that out as time goes on. And this is,
Watch out!
funny enough, the first major reason. Yeah, you can really tell this is from the Gears of War era of video games. Where basically they decided to turn this gritty tactical
Shit, there's more
shooter
crowds. Get down.
series into a Gears of War.
Shoot him, Matt. Shoot
I don't want to say a clone of Gears of the War, but let's just say, takes heavy inspiration from Gears of War. It still is at its core Brothers in Arms, the same as the previous two games, with squad mechanics. And I will say, despite this being a cover shooter, this is a very good cover shooter, because if I hold A in this position, I peek out to the left, out of the side. If I hold W, I go over the top. That is the basic of every single cover shooter, and that's how you can tell if something's a good cover shooter or not. But yeah, that will go ahead and continue on. Also, like, I am not, oh, finally, you stopped. Yeah, I'm not moving the mouse whatsoever with this action. It does kind of make it seem like Matt's a little drunk. Alright. Alright. So, yeah, this is a... You can really tell this is a 2010s game. I think this was released in the 2010s. You can really tell this was 2010s games. They were really proud of their lighting effects. Now that being said, I don't want to seem like I'm being overly critical of this game.
There go the lights. The whole city. God, Matt, all those people.
Because of sections like that, I pointed this out in Earned in Blood, where the game put in more emphasis on the actual squad. And I think that was overall a better choice as opposed to Earned in Blood, which very much was not so focused on the actual characters. Come on. Yeah, this game takes a lot more of a focus on the individual characters, which I think is overall a more positive direction to take the game. And I will point out the good character moments as time goes on, although I will admit there are definitely more than a few writing errors I will criticize as the game goes on. Come on, buddy. There we go. So obviously this is the tutorial. It's kind of teaching you how the basics of the game. I think overall it's a decent tutorial. Again, I don't think it's super strong, and I'm gonna be honest, there's a better tutorial that's just gonna pop up very soon. But then again, this is mostly just setting up. And with that, Baker is one of the luckiest guys alive. And he is slightly screwed. Oh no. Cliffhanger for later on. Again, I will criticize some of the writing issues, but we'll get to that later on. For now, we get to head back to 3 days earlier, which I'm gonna be honest, I think this should have been the start of the game. Like honestly, kind of cut out the rest of the beginning, including the beginning cutscene and the prologue, and just have this. I think this is a way better opening. Good old gliders.
What is it that makes a great soldier? Is it his brain or his heart? My dad asked me that question at the age of 7 when I was at the breakfast table. I remember it vividly because he never told me the goddamn answer. He was the smartest man I ever knew, but I always felt like a bastard when I was around him.
And with that, we jump to even earlier. To before the operation started.
And he kept telling me how I didn't look 18.
You don't.
I know, yeah.
Obviously, we have new squad members. This is Frankie. He's one of them.
He seems to have it in for me.
We'll see what I can do, Frank. Don't worry about it.
You paint that yourself, Beans?
Don't call me Beans.
So, you're saying you don't know bollocks about the pistol?
Nothing to tell, Doss. Just a bunch of crap the guys made up.
Would you hold it?
I'm not the biggest fan of Dawson, and I will criticize him throughout the entire story.
Answer my question, Cortland.
Hey, Corian. Are we still in the range at 1300?
Yeah, I'll talk to you in a minute, Jack. He's too young.
It's a bit of a gray area, Sam. But he's a standout if I've ever seen one. Excellent shot. The kid hit a quarter at 50 yards. A quarter.
But he has no combat experience at all.
Everybody got replacements. But we got a good one. Okay, I'll vouch for Frankie personally.
I hope you're right.
I need you to find some paint, Jazz.
Sure. I'll steal some paint for you, Sergeant.
Requisition. Private.
What are we painting?
We're the tip of the spear, Jazz. We need to look sharp when we go in.
Wilco!
Why would you say that? He's right there.
With that, we got second squad.
Ain't nobody talking to you. I swear to God, Paddock, I've had it with that shit.
What the hell is going on in here?
Well, Paddock said some stuff that made him
I
sound
see
like a real
one
dick.
goddamn bruise on any of you. It'll be KP and latrines for a week. I know this is getting frustrating. I know we all want to jump to it. Just know it ain't that simple.
Maybe it should be.
Maybe you should bring that up with General Montgomery.
Got it, Ben?
Plan's the same, guys. We punch through the German line, punch straight into Berlin, punch Hitler in the face, win the war, and be home by Christmas.
Pretty simplified explanation of Operation Market Garden.
Here's the thought. If you're gonna cheat, make sure you don't use 2 Queen of Spades.
Oh, you son of a bitch, Paddock.
Hey, Jazz!
Yeah, Red!
You get that paint I asked for?
We'll go!
Is Max still trailing around with Cole?
Well, he made a first sergeant.
Anyone else a little weirded out by that? It's like seeing your old boss or something.
Cortland, Matt kept us alive through shit no one should live through. We owe him a lot.
Yeah, Cortland should know. He was there.
You don't want to know what I had to do to get there.
You sure this is okay, Red?
Well, we all picked radio call signs.
This will help us keep the Jeep straight.
And crush the Germans with our scary zoo animals. Scheiße! Ein Zebra!
The zebra is a fierce
Hey,
animal.
swordfishes are plenty tough. This one time, my friend Nathan got speared through his hand with its... Is it a beak? Wait, what was the other one?
Toucan. Hey, well, pick your damn eyes out, man.
All right. Guys, I don't do speeches. That was always Mac's thing, but tomorrow, we're heading into Holland and opening up a goddamn highway. So hit the mess and then get some sleep. It'll be the last we get of either for a long damn while.
So yeah, obviously we'll be talking about Operation Market Garden quite a bit in this series, and let's just say Market Garden's a fairly complicated operation. It's an operation that, on paper,
That ground is getting fucking
seems like it was way too overambitious.
How do you know?
But in reality, it actually almost succeeded. And we'll
What is it that makes a great soldier?
talk about why that is as
Is it
time
his
goes
brain?
on.
Or his heart?
They got incredibly lucky right there. Yeah, hitting just one of those trees would have been curtains.
Move! Get the Jeep out now! We have a link up to get to!
Alright, so we'll also soon be able to talk about the almost pretty much nonsense that is our squad organization. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, I think overall this game is the game where they kind of threw out a lot of the realism that the previous two games had. But, hey, it's still plenty good. So on the R on the side of their helmets, that means recon. That was an actual helmet flash used by the airborne in World War II. That would basically signify that they're part of the reconnaissance battalion, which, again, I'll talk about how it's kind of weird how we're set up.
All right, we have a twofold objective here. Secure the landing site for the incoming gliders. That's you, Sam, and Zano too. And we have to get a report from Nick somebody. He's Dutch resistance, near a farmhouse somewhere around here.
Is it that farmhouse?
We just so happened to be
Yeah,
next
that's
to
it.
the
That's me, Jasper, and Connor.
farmhouse.
We'll bring the MG. Hop to it.
And of course, our resident smartass in Dawson picks out the exact farmhouse. But yeah, we get to talk about the nonsense that is our squad. So, first things first, we are a 10-man squad in this.
Get up here.
And yeah, U.S. Army rifle squads in World War II there were 12-man squads. We have a machine gun, which, contrary to what I previously said, would have been fairly common amongst the airborne in squads, but yeah, this is probably actually one of the more realistic parts of our squad. So, of course, we got our gunner, Private First Class Jasper. We also got Private First Class Connor, who is the assistant gunner. And this team should have a third guy, and in this game they do have a third guy, being PFC Cortland from the previous games. And then we got the fire team, which is the fire team and the assault team, both of whom are 3-man squads, both led by corporals, even though realistically one of them should be a sergeant because, well, we're a staff sergeant, so this means that we're post U.S. Army changing the squad leader role from a sergeant's job to a staff sergeant's job, which means that the assistant squad leader should be a sergeant, not a corporal. In fact, the corporal rank was pretty much deleted by the U.S. Army
I'm Nicholas.
towards the end of World War II from the actual rifle squads.
But I managed to find some German positions. Quick, we haven't much time.
Whoa, he speaks good English.
Yes,
Jasper, that's not important right now.
must be very careful. There are Germans on the other side of that wall. Now I must get back to my son Peter. He wants to run away and fight very badly, and if I don't return home soon...
This is called foreshadowing.
Good luck, Sergeant Baker.
Alright, but now we get to talk about the real
Give us some
the
cover
real
from
joy
over
of
there.
this game. This game, in my opinion, actually has better gameplay than the previous two games. Partly because A, your AI is smart enough to not, automatically open fire when you're trying to be stealthy. So that way you could actually ambush your opponents. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move around here. And then we'll just casually have
Hit him hard!
the machine gun team unload on them. Alright, that suppressed them. We'll go ahead and grab a grenade.
Watch out! I'm throwing a grenade! Jasper!
Now, this game has a feature in it that I have actually disabled in the settings, and that is the action camera. It is a slow-mo,
Stay with me.
like camera. It's supposed to be cinematic. I think it's fucking stupid because it's like it slows it down. It shows all the gory detail and all that, and I'm like, yeah, this is a brutal game, kind of talking about the horrors of war, and I think this game does a better job at encapsulating that. And then it's like, here's glory in killing, and it's like, that's not really a good thing. Even if, like, your targets are Nazis, you shouldn't really be glorifying killing as a whole. Now here we have Kilroy. Kilroy is kind of interesting, as you can make an argument that he was one of the first memes. Like, no joke, like in World War II they had Kilroy, which was basically a meme that US soldiers would draw on random buildings like this one to mark their progress as time goes on, and soldiers would just walk up and just laugh. I am glad that men have not changed in about 90 years.
Cover us over there.
Well, it'll be 80 years. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and find a recon section. And the... yeah, they they really should have play tested this game a little bit more. The jankiest walk upstairs animation ever. Alright, and now we got, of course, recon. So this is kind of replacing the extras section from the previous game, where this time there is certain areas that you could go around and actually go ahead and, learn a little bit of the background behind this game, which I actually really enjoy. Back to the janky stairs. So if you do the good old situational map, what's the situational map again in this game? It's not V. It's not C. It's not B. Control? No, it's not control. Why do we have two crouch buttons? Oh. Let's go ahead and... Actually, I'll go ahead and take a look real quick. Alright, it's X. I don't know why, but this game changed a lot of the controls from the previous games from what I could tell. No good reason. Which is not great. But for here, you can actually take a look at the tactical map. I overall don't like this in comparison to the previous games. Again, I'm being very negative. This is because I think the game gets better as time goes on versus the other games that got worse as time went on. But yeah, this is where you could get a bunch of information by hitting this recon report. And what's actually kind of important is that this was a very light drop. Like, there was some flak, but most of the troops got into the ground without really being fired upon at all. This was a pretty easy drop for most of the airborne. It would be later on when things start going wrong.
Quick, set up over there.
And yeah, I kind of mentioned how this game, Operation Market Garden actually almost succeeded. And the reason for that is because this section of the front was actually very lightly defended by the Germans. Most of the defenses were being concentrated more towards the Rhine and Germany itself, as well as, oh dear God, the Russians are coming. So that's kind of, this entire area of the front was actually pretty lightly defended in comparison to other areas. And this is part of the reason why they eventually chose to kind of go through this area in order to try to basically punch their way towards Berlin. So then that way, you know, they could get across the Rhine and start going into Germany itself. However, was this the best use of resources? No, not at all. At least in my opinion, and I think most people's opinion. It was not as stupid as some people claim it is. But the main reason why I say that is because, so basically at this point, why are the Allies even doing Operation Market Garden at all? Why are they even doing it? And the reason for this is because previously they were just doing a broad front strategy where they were just going through and just pushing through the entire line, the entire front, specifically to liberate France. Now that worked for a while. However, at this point, the Allies are still being resupplied entirely from Normandy, meaning that any supplies that was going to reach the Allies at the front had to pretty much travel through the entirety of France, and then later Belgium. So basically, the Allies had a logistical problem where they couldn't fully commit to the broad front strategy anymore. So they decided to go with a single decisive strike, basically pulling all their resources into one operation, this operation being Operation Market Garden. Now, was this the best use of the resources? Nope. Because if you actually take a look at it, it would have been way better if they took the resources that they used in Market Garden and used it to, say, take Antwerp, which would have shortened their supply lines considerably. Yeah, I remember this game quite well. I remember this game quite well. But yeah, instead of taking Antwerp, they decided to pool their resources into taking this operation. And to put it bluntly, it would eventually end up wasting a ton of resources that could have been used to again take Antwerp to try to solve the logistical issues that the Allies had.
Suppress those crowds!
Now that being said, despite it overall being a waste of resources, at least in my opinion, it actually almost succeeded. And the reason for that is because if the 82nd Airborne took the Nijmegen Bridge on this day, on the very first day, which they easily could have done because the bridge was mostly undefended at this point. The Panzer Battalion that would later defend that bridge actually did not arrive yet. In fact, they wouldn't arrive for a couple hours after the drop, giving the Airborne enough time to, capture the bridge and fortify it. But, of course, the 82nd would not end up capturing the bridge. Instead, they pooled all their resources into basically securing their drop zone. And only would, after a few hours passed, would send a single battalion to go capture the bridge. However, by the time they actually got there, that's when the German Panzer Division was there. Basically, if the 82nd took the Nijmegen Bridge, there's a good chance Mark Gagarin would have succeeded.
Baker. Yeah, I remember. I'm not great with names, but I certainly heard yours enough after D-Day. I could use a favor if y'all are up to it. Division has a whole mess of gliders coming into the south. I already radioed one of your jeeps to meet you
In
here.
Holland, the hordes still meet. Get out of my fucking way. Sorry, sir. Ready to move out whenever you are, Sergeant.
How solid is our intel? Do we know for sure there will be Germans attacking the gliders?
Almost certainly, Holden.
We don't know for sure. That's why it's called recon.
Oh yes, I'm quite aware of the ramifications. We protect the brass by dying first. I understand.
The gospel according to Holden.
All right. That's not good.
All right, men. Move that MG there.
Quick, get over there.
All right, so we're gonna move over here.
Over there, quick.
And we have the most imperceptive Germans ever.
Fire on that position!
Yeah.
Take him out!
Alright, we're gonna have to move. Our cover's being destroyed.
Sanovich!
Come on, guys.
Go! Move it!
Alright, come on. Alright, let's go and get the assault team around. And take them out. Yeah, to kind of continue on my thought from before.
Quick, set up there.
The reason why the 82nd didn't take the bridge at Nijmegen at the start, and to put it bluntly, there is a common misconception that the that 30 Corps was constantly delayed. They did experience delays, but most of those delays were not that long of a delay. Their longest delay was actually at the Nijmegen Bridge. Mostly because they had to help the 82nd take back the bridge. Now, why the 82nd did not immediately take the bridge is a question that stumps a lot of people even to this day. There's more than a few theories, which I will say about most of these theories is that it ultimately comes down to your bias of what you believe. Is the truth or not?
Thanks for the hand, Sarge.
Alright, get out of here, guys. It really depends on your bias, because at the end of the day, it's a blame game. So if you are very pro, let's say, American, let's say you're very pro US, you're going to say that Gavin was concerned about the Westwall. I think it's the Westwald Forest, which was a forest to their east that supposedly had an entire German panzer division in it, because the Germans were using it as a way of basically refitting tanks and repairing tanks. Basically the whole idea is that there was a bunch of German tanks there, or at least the Allies thought that there was a bunch of German tanks there, so what they would end up doing is that they would end up fortifying against that position, so then that way, you know, the 82nd's landing zones wouldn't be overrun. Now that sounds fairly sound logic until you realize that, like, Dutch resistance actually debunked that even before the landings even started. Which is really weird. Oh, great. Okay, first death. I do sometimes get overconfident in this game. But yeah,
Give us some cover from over there.
the rough idea is that the 82nd had to fortify their position to defend the Westfall forest and prevent their landing zones from being overrun. Now, Dutch resistance would actually debunk that, and if you know anything about the Germans at this point, the idea that the Germans have supposedly hundreds of tanks hiding in a random forest in Holland is laughable considering the situation on the Eastern Front.
Get to that cover.
Where, you know, they're being overrun by the Russians. Yeah, they're being overrun by the Russians, and supposedly they have, like, hundreds of tanks just hiding in a random forest in Holland. Now, there is an alternate theory, which is a theory that I'm more, let's just say, supportive of. And that's the fact that, well, not the fact, because again, this is a theory that is not confirmed whatsoever. And the whole idea is that basically Major General Gavin of the 82nd Airborne deliberately sabotaged the operation. Now that's a pretty bold claim, which is why I will once again emphasize that this is a theory that to this day is not really confirmed, and I doubt will ever be confirmed because, well, this is an event that happened well over 80 years ago. And basically, the whole theory is that Gavin was a pretty well-known hater of the British as a whole, particularly of General Browning, the British commander of their airborne forces. Basically the equivalent of what would be Ridgeway for the Americans. Basically, Browning was the kind of the guy who was responsible for creating the Airborne Corps for the British. And what's important to note is that the Americans and the British were not really allies at this point. Obviously they were allies in the war, but the US largely didn't see it that way. There was still a huge amount of anti-British sentiment amongst the United States and its general population. And a lot of that actually carried on to the actual chain of commands as well. This is part of the reason why they had to select Eisenhower to be the Supreme Commander of Allied Forces. And the reason why is very simple. Basically, the Americans would not have accepted a Brit in charge of them. They wanted an American in charge, which is why eventually Eisenhower would be chosen. It wasn't the only reason why Eisenhower was chosen, but it was a major consideration. So basically, the whole idea behind the theory is that Gavin wanted Operation Market Garden to fail because Operation Market Garden was specifically a British planned operation, and specifically it was under the command of Browning, the guy that he did not particularly like. So the whole idea is that he decided to not order one of his battalions to take the bridge until much later because he overall just did not respect or think that the plan was even worth pursuing.
Stay with me.
And basically, there's a couple evidence to kind of support that in the fact that Gavin changes his story about 3 times. after Operation Market Garden of why exactly one of his battalions was not sent to capture the bridge. One of the first times he said that he realized, like, on the ground that he needed to send someone to go take the bridge, which is why he ran over to Colonel Lindquist and ordered his battalion to take the bridge. However, by the time Lindquist's battalion got there, it was already too late. The Germans were already dug in. But then he later claimed that he explicitly told Lindquist before the drop, like right before they loaded up onto the planes to go, into the operation, that he ordered Lindquist to take the bridge, which Lindquist denied ever happening. And he changed his story again, and I can't remember exactly what he did. I think he did it where he said it much earlier, which again, Lindquist denied. Lindquist explicitly stated that the first time he learned about his battalion's responsibility to take the bridge was well after they landed and well after they started fortifying against the I think it's the Westfall Forest. But yeah, I was not super great on Gavin. And to be fair, Gavin was fairly known to being very anti-British as a whole. And yeah, I could do an entire video on the clusterfuck that was the Airborne Corps in World War II. Yeah.
We managed to get all of our.
But obviously, we'll talk more about this as time goes on.
Ordered us to follow him to Sun with the 506. When we crashed, my Jeep took a beating.
He hit a tree!
Well, it wasn't steering right at the time.
Oh no! A conspicuously placed tree that could be a German in disguise. Take cover, men. I'll save us!
Let's get moving, guys!
They do spend a lot of time on Cortland to characterize them. I meant Corian. I think I said Cortland. That's a different guy.
There's something wrong, though. It's there in his eyes. He's been passed up for promotion to sergeant 3 times now. I don't believe he'll abide by a 4th. Hell, he'd lead the whole damn army if he could.
Alright, and with that, we'll actually go ahead and save that next mission for next time. So yeah, I don't overall think that this is a particularly strong opening. The prologue and Lost, as well as, yeah, the general Operation Market, which was specifically the airborne operation. The Operation Market was the airborne part, and Operation Garden was the ground element, 30 Corps coming up Hell's Highway. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed, and have a wonderful day.